today. Really appreciate it. My name is Bob Ferguson, Attorney General for the state of Washington, and we're here to announce an important resolution on a investigation we've had with Amazon that's been ongoing now for a couple years. And first, I'm just going to start by saying that I think as a parent, my wife and I have 11-year-old twins. I think it's fair to say that any parent, when they are shopping for their children, expect that when they're in the marketplace and making purchases, that the school supplies or the jewelry, for example, that they are purchasing for their children are safe. And concerns we had in the marketplace, specifically with Amazon, prompted investigation, which I'll talk more about, and that's led to a resolution that we think will better protect children in the marketplace, and specifically with Amazon, and we hope for others as well. So we're here to announce today that Amazon will commit to legally binding nationwide corporate reforms after my office found dozens of children's school supplies and jewelry sold on its marketplace had illegal levels of toxic metals. My office, and I want to emphasize, has been in partnership with the Department of Ecology. I'll introduce a few scientists shortly from the Department of Ecology who have played a key role, to put it mildly, in this effort. This partnership has found that some of these children's products had illegal levels of lead and cadmium. These metals are toxic and can have serious effects on children's health and well-being. Thanks to our investigation, Amazon will no longer allow toxic children's school supplies and jewelry in its marketplace. So I'm going to do a number of introductions here quickly. So I'm going to actually start with the folks from the Department of Ecology who are here. These are three scientists with the Department of Ecology who played a key role in the testing, which I think I'll be talking a little bit more about and that they can speak to in more detail as well. But joined by three scientists with Ecology, Jessica Archer, Sarah Sakarik, and Tina Schaefer, who all played a key role in working with members of my team from my Consumer Protection Division and my Environmental Protection Unit on bringing this investigation forward to the conclusion that we reached here today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the investigation that we've done, how our resolution better ensures that Amazon will no longer be selling these products, and to better protect children, not just here in Washington State, but across the country, and then we'll take any questions that you might have. So our investigation started in 2017, and I just was chatting with Bill and Kelly and Aurora from my team on the environmental protection side about, hey, how we got started on this. And we created an environmental protection unit in our office in, Bill, you were October 2016. Bill's the lead of that. And this was really one of the first initiatives that they brought to my attention, something that we were interested in, something that the Department of Ecology had spent some time looking at, and that we wanted to begin doing some testing on this front. So we started in 2017. And as I mentioned before, in partnership with the Department of Ecology, we tested dozens of children's school supplies sold on Amazon's marketplace for the 2017 shopping season. The types of children's school supplies we tested, just to give you a sense of what we're looking at: pencil pouches, backpacks, lunch boxes, book covers. We've had some images here as well of the types of things that we're looking at. Importantly, these items were specifically marketed to children, so we were focused on that. So for example, they had cartoon characters, they had plush exteriors, they had bright colors. They were clearly targeted for young children, like the age of my kids. That's what they were looking for. We discovered that more than half of the products we purchased and tested contained high levels of lead and cadmium. One thing I'll just want to emphasize is, and we'll give you the numbers shortly, the numbers that tested positive, we were specifically looking for products that my team, Ecology, felt might violate the law. We're happy to answer questions about kind of what led us to those products, but in terms of the numbers that we'll be talking about, these were products we thought might be problematic, and we focused on those. As I'm sure you all know, high amounts of these metals, lead and cadmium, are dangerous for children. Lead can cause a variety of neurological problems in children, as you well know, and in very high levels, these can lead to organ failure and even death. Cadmium is a known carcinogen. The Washington Children's Safe Products Act and the Federal Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act prohibit levels of lead and cadmium exceeding certain limits in any accessible component of a children's product. So under federal law, lead cannot exceed 100 parts per million. Under Washington state law, cadmium cannot exceed 40 parts per million. So these are just specific criteria that folks know about. This is the law, and you can't exceed those. It's pretty straightforward. The products we found exceeded one or both of these baselines, so these products are illegal. We completed 2 rounds of testing targeting products that our office anti-ecology suspected may contain these toxic metals. So in our first round, I'll walk you through sort of both rounds of testing. In the first round, we tested 43 products, and we discovered that 16 of the 43 products tested positive for these illegal levels of lead and cadmium. So as an example, one Spider-Man pencil pouch had more than 40 times the legal limits on lead and 23 times the legal limits on cadmium. We then notified Amazon of our investigation. We requested, which we routinely do in our investigations, we made a demand for additional documents. We were interested, for example, in determining whether or not on the products that were sold, did the entity selling the products have certificates showing that they've been tested for lead and cadmium. So we asked for information from Amazon. We asked for the numbers of the products and how many were sold. Amazon then pulled those products from their website in the summer of 2018. We then tested a second round of products later on that year in 2018 to determine whether any additional products posed a threat to Washington children. This time we tested 41 products, 35 of the items we purchased, including products that were supposed to have been removed from Amazon.com, had illegal levels of metals. So the total numbers that we tested between those 2 tests were 84 products, of which 51 were illegal and tested too high on these metals. To give you an example of the types of products, a stuffed animal pencil pouch that we tested had approximately 8,500 parts per million of lead. That's over 80 times the legal limit. So, at the risk of overstating the obvious, these products weren't just missing the mark by a small amount. In some cases, they're missing the mark by a very significant amount. That is deeply concerning for children's health. Another pencil pouch contained more than 35 times the legal limit of lead and nearly 29 times the legal limit of cadmium. We again notified Amazon of what we found, and we also notified Amazon that we now intended to test children's jewelry that would go to another set of products after having gone through school supplies. Amazon independently confirmed that certain children's jewelry sold on its marketplace had high levels of toxic metals, including bracelets and necklaces. Amazon found that one bracelet contained more than 11,000 times the amount of cadmium allowed under Washington state law. So at this point, we, as a team, talked about what we were looking for in a resolution with Amazon if we were going to not proceed with litigation, if they wanted to avoid litigation. Number one was having the products pulled from their website. We had that done. Number two, we were seeking a refund to any customers who had purchased these products, obviously. Number three, Amazon needed to create a process that would ensure this does not happen again. And that was an important part of negotiation for some time. And number four, that Amazon needed to write a check to the state of Washington so we could fund these efforts working with our partners in ecology and folks in my office, consumer protection, the environmental enforcement team, to continue this work going forward. So those are the four things we're looking for. So the products were pulled. We then asked Amazon to immediately identify and refund all consumers who had purchased these products. So in response, Amazon then notified purchasers of the issue and refunded their purchases in late 2018 and early 2019. Just to give you a sense of how many folks that was, Amazon identified that consumers nationwide purchased more than 15,000 of these products that exceeded the legal limits of lead and cadmium. So refunds were issued. Those refunds totaled approximately $200,000 to those consumers. About 600 of those purchases, of those 15,000 products, about 600 of those were purchases made that went to Washingtonians, made here in Washington state. At our request, Amazon also contacted the Federal Consumer Product Safety Commission to initiate a recall of the illegal items. So So as a result of that investigation, Amazon has removed those products. Some products were removed in the summer of 2018. All products found in both rounds of testing were removed early this year. Today's resolution also requires Amazon to solve the problem of toxic children's school supplies and jewelry. So this morning we have filed in King County Superior Court a legally binding agreement. We call it an assurance of discontinuance. You see these fairly routinely in sort of the consumer protection setting, for example. So we have filed a legally binding agreement in King County Superior Court that Amazon signs, that we sign, that binds them to the commitments that I'll be talking about here in a moment. So specifically, all sellers of children's school supplies and jewelry must now, moving forward, submit a children's product safety certificate. They have to show that they have tested these products for lead, for cadmium, for these illegal levels of metals that can harm children. They have to have that certificate done and provide that. This certificate is required of all manufacturers and importers of children's products and provides accredited lab testing confirming these products do not contain illegal levels of lead and cadmium. Any current or future seller cannot post their products for sale in the marketplace until they provide this information. If Amazon finds that any children's supplies, school supplies, or jewelry have lead or cadmium that are too high, it will discontinue their sale and distribution. I think it goes without saying that my office and the Department of Ecology will continue our efforts in this regard. And that's not unusual. If we do an investigation of this type and find problems, we enter into agreement like this, but we continue to test, and that's what would be going on here as well. In addition to these measures, Amazon will write a check to the state of Washington for $700,000. Those are funds I intend to use to work with our partners at Ecology to continue testing with Amazon or others as well as appropriate. Just a final thought, then we'll take your questions, and members of my team may help if you have questions specifically about the testing part of it. I may turn to the scientists at Ecology who went through the actual testing of these products. I think we live in a world of heightened awareness of the challenges of toys, school supplies, I should emphasize, rather, and jewelry with our children. I found, the numbers of school supplies and jewelry that violated state and federal law to be deeply concerning, to put it mildly. We do appreciate that Amazon cooperated with us to reach this resolution. We feel that's important. But I think it's also fair to say that anyone who is selling school supplies, anyone who is selling children's jewelry should know that the Department of Ecology, under the leadership of Maya Bellin and my office, with the folks in my office who are here, are focused on this issue. This is not the end of the conversation from our standpoint, and we trust that this sends a message to folks who sell these products that they need to ensure that these products are safe for children. Children are old enough to understand the dangers in these products. They see Spider-Man, they know what to do with Spider-Man, go play with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's cool, right? They see cool-looking items, you know what they're going to do with them. They're going to interact with them, they're going to play with them, they're going to hold them, they're going to chew on them, they're going to sleep with them, right? I probably shouldn't say, my kids are now 11, as my colleagues know, I probably shouldn't say, but hey, my kids are still, when they go to bed at night, they've got their stuffed animals, they've got their friends with them at night, lots of them. And so that's how kids interact with school supplies. That's how they interact with jewelry. These things are important to them, they interact with them, and having these harmful metals embedded in these products needs to stop. It's too prevalent, and we hope this action sends the right message, brings some important changes to Amazon, which has a huge influence, a huge role in this area, and we hope it sends the right message across the state and across the country as well. So with that, we're happy to take any questions that folks have. Yes?
Did you notice any trends in where these items were coming from? If this is already mandatory state law exceeding the legal limits, why were they here in the first place? Where are they coming from?
In terms of where they're coming from, sort of geographically, meaning like,
yeah,
what?
Where are these items manufactured, and why are they here?
Yeah.
Why were they offered here?
So just repeat. So we think there are some folks on the phone, so I'll repeat. If anyone helps come answer the question, if you can just identify yourself as well, so folks on the phone and for the folks here. So the question for those on the phone was, hey, where were these products coming from? And can anyone speak to that?
Yeah.
Go right ahead. Just introduce yourself, Bill.
So my name is Bill Sherman. I'm the unit chief of the Council for Environmental Protection Unit of the Washington State Attorney General's Office. What we found is that in particular these products are made in China, and in particular, they're sold by third-party sellers on Amazon's platform. And so in that way, it's that kind of direct seller to purchaser relationship that goes around what might otherwise be a retail store's decision to control their inventory.
Other questions? Anyone online have any questions for us? If not, final call for questions. Yep, you fire away.
No,
Yeah, go for it. Fire away. Jump in. Yeah.
So were these products mostly sold to individuals? Were they sold to school districts? Who were they sold to?
So the question is, how are the products? So who are they sold to? Individuals, school districts, or both? So who would like to? So this is Kelly Wood from my team. We'll speak to this one.
Yeah, so we asked Amazon for specific information about the consumers that purchased the products. They were a bit reluctant to provide addresses and personal information of their consumers, which was understandable. But we did get zip codes and other information we could use to identify where the products wound up. We would assume, because most of these purchases, we got quantities along with each purchase, so we could see how many folks bought each individual item. The vast majority of these sales were single sales which we assume are to individuals.
Yeah, no.
Go fire away. Yeah.
Because of this action, is it safe to assume, or safe for parents to assume, that anything now geared toward children, marketed toward children, is safe from lead or cadmium because of this action?
Just make sure I'm remembering. So you're asking, is it safe for parents in making purchases of school supplies or jewelry that those products are safe? I mean, I'll give you my answer in part as the Attorney General, in part as a parent, right? So it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think safe to assume is too strong, number one. What I would say is that with Amazon specifically, we think these are the right steps to better ensure that those products are safe. But I think Amazon understands that we'll continue to test. Number two, it's a big marketplace out there. Bricks and mortar, online, you name it. So no, I would not say, how about this? I'll just speak more directly. As a parent, this has heightened my awareness of the issue. Obviously, I was always aware of it, right? But has heightened my awareness of it. I'll be chatting with my wife Colleen about it, you can be sure, right? And I will be looking for, is there a certificate before we make a purchase for an item that our children will be interacting with? Is there a certificate that shows this has been tested? I think that would be a baseline step that we would take. Others may want to jump in if there's additional things that parents should do. But no, I would not say that parents, it's safe to assume that a product for your child is safe. I would look for a certificate that it has been tested specifically. I mean, the numbers are what the numbers are. Notwithstanding that we were focused on products that we thought might be problematic, but the majority of the ones we tested were problematic. That should be a red flag for any parent. Anyone want to add to that, by the way, in terms of Bill, do you want to add to that?
I think we could probably say one other
Yeah.
thing. So I think we'd want to emphasize that this resolution deals specifically with Amazon. So it doesn't deal with the marketplace as a whole, and it deals specifically with children's school supplies and children's jewelry. And like the Attorney General said, one of the critical things for our office in working with Amazon toward this resolution was making sure that Amazon was undertaking affirmative steps to keep their marketplace safe for consumers of these products. The steps that they have committed to are substantial. They are a true step forward, and shoppers can feel more assured now than they could have before this agreement that the products, that the children's school supplies and jewelry sold on Amazon are going to comply with limits on cadmium and lead.
What's the seal going to look like, and when does it need to be on Amazon's website?
Well, when does the certificate sort of need
Yeah, I mean, what are practical information for a parent when you're
Yep.
shopping for your kid says, hey Alexa,
Yep.
I need a new book bag.
Good point, yeah.
What
Yep.
should they be looking for to make sure that it's approved, it's been tested?
Yeah, so luckily with this resolution, the consumers shopping on Amazon won't have to do that. So Amazon, the process that they're implementing is going to ensure that the products, before they're even listed on the site for sale, have the the people that are selling those products have provided those certificates to Amazon. And so when that testing's done, that should go, as Bill said, a long distance towards helping keep these products off Amazon's website.